Hey man, what's up?
Not much. Pretty early in the morning.
Yeah, pretty early for our usual recording times, but I kind of like it a bit better.
Yeah, better than doing late night.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, I kind of want to discuss something that I saw over on Facebook, and it kind of made me a little bit pissed, honestly.
Yeah, grind your gears.
Yeah, what grinds my gears. It was definitely eye opening. So, it was about a girl who, got a gun for the first time, but I'll just explain it to you. I'll read it off of exactly where it's from. So, she posted a picture on Facebook, and it was really like her holding a firearm, her first firearm. And just to get this straight off the bat, she didn't even know the brand and name of her firearm. So, anyway, she's like, got my first ever gun today, a DC-9. Post pics of your most favorite firearms or the first gun that you ever had, or whatever speaks to you most. Okay, whatever. And then she goes on to say, P.S. I am a flamboyant liberal queer, and my more right friends feel like they have converted me and are ecstatic. And then she puts in quotations, or I should say, parentheses. Maybe they're right a bit. It's not likely though, spelled T-H-O, but I'll just let them think that because I love my friends. And then I'm just like, okay, so that goes on to say, like, whatever, she's stating her political opinion and she's, doing whatever. She can do that, whatever, it's cool. You go on to read the comments, and the first comment on there says, I don't feel confidently about you owning a handgun. So I'm assuming this person knows, these people know each other, and the guy kind of just thinks she's unfit. That's the way I looked at it. And then she goes to comment, that's pretty fucked up. I don't know why anyone would feel more confident about you owning one, for instance. And she goes to follow up that comment with, it would be one thing if you said that you don't feel confident about anyone owning one. In this case, you're very clear about implying that there's something about me which would make it unsafe. And that is incredibly ridiculous. I don't know where to begin, but yeah, I guess first of all, what makes you think that you have the authority to say something like that, basically? Someone that actually passed a background check and is able to buy a firearm and who immediately registered it and is asking for safety pointers and whatnot. How am I unsafe with the firearm? So basically, she just goes off and says, why are you making assumptions about me?
So she kind of just blew up on the guy?
Yeah, I guess she was defending her right to own a firearm, and if she passed this background check or whatever, she's legally obliged to own it.
I'm going to assume there's a follow-up to this said rant.
There is a follow-up. So the follow-up's actually a news article. And it says, police, women road rage leads to arrest after a woman shoots at another driver, and the woman's her. The woman's the one who was owning the handgun, the first handgun. So yeah, so the guy was correct, and it's the same woman. This was found on Reddit, but then it was also posted on Facebook. So I just was like, oh, twice, might as well talk about it. And the one thing that really stood out to me the most is when she said, I am a flamboyant liberal queer. And I'm just like...
See, here's the thing. I don't think that's necessary to even bring up. And
yeah, like...
if you bought a gun, cool.
Like, is she trying to say that because she is, gay, that... and she owns a firearm, that not all liberals or all people who are slightly left are, against firearms? I don't know what she's trying to get across here, but she's not doing it justice because she just went off and was showing how, vicious the left can be. Like any leftist group or right group can be crazy. You have anything far left or far right's insanity.
From what I know about, I don't want to say the far left, but it's how it is these days. But from what I know is that kind of seeing those social justice warriors. They
don't even get me started with those fucking people.
Here, the thing is, they don't tend to, defend their arguments. They just from what I've seen, they tend to just call you a bigot and then try to shame you and to trying to debate with them. That's what I've seen so far. And I'm not trying to like start any fights here. I'm just saying that
I'll start a fight.
Oh.
Those people piss me off more than anything in the world. I mean, okay, so a lot of them don't even know where it stems from. There's like a backstory where it stems from, and like I could hop on that in a second, but it's just, I just want to put one thing out there and get it super simple and clean cut to the bone. Fucking, there are two genders.
All right.
Plain and simple. There are two genders, male and female. And in my opinion, and actually in my factual data backup, I believe that if you raise a child to be something that it's not, so if you have a boy and you raise it to be a girl, then you're going to have consequences to that, because the child will feel out of place, because guess what? The hormones it is receiving is not what it's inclined to be.
You kind of just reminded me of a story that I read. So I was on Reddit a while back, and then there was like this story about a dad who got tired of his kid getting bullied from this other kid. Turns out the kid that was a bully was actually born a boy, but was being raised a girl. So she was having testosterone and estrogen problems going on. So she was just picking on anybody she can who was just like kind of not like her. So the dad kept complaining about it to the school, and the school was like doing what they can, trying to separate the kids. I'm just like, no, that kid's still picking on my kid. So he said, you know what, school? If you don't do anything about it, I'm going to teach my kid how to fight. And that's when you're going to do something about it. And the principals and the teachers looked at him horrified. And he said, no, I'm going to do it. And you better be ready for it. So guess what? He spent 2 weeks, 3 weeks just teaching his kids some basics. Just trying to, like, I guess, unboxing, maybe like how to throw someone to the ground and stuff like that. He didn't go into much detail about that. But what he did say is that when the day came, he gave his kids 3 simple rules. He said, if the kid starts picking on you, you just walk away and look for a teacher. And if he continues to follow you, you give him your intentions. You warn him what you're going to do to him. And you continue to looking for a teacher. And if he proceeds to persist, you go and give it to him. So he said that he was at work when he got the phone call. He was at work. And then he said that his son got in a fight and that he beat the kid up badly.
Well,
and then, so when he ended up picking up to school, his kid just ran up to him and called him daddy and just hugged him. And he was just like, I've never been more proud of my son.
I mean, yeah, if someone's bullying you to the point to where you feel like you have to physically defend yourself, I mean, I'm all for that. It's just, I mean, violence isn't the main thing you should go to.
No, but here's the thing. It's like he says that the school, the teachers weren't doing anything.
Yeah, but if the teachers aren't doing anything about it.
Because this kid was like, I don't know, he was going through like transgender stuff because of his parents. So his parents were like, I guess his parents were like giving him like, oh, you're just being homophobic, transphobic or some shit.
Right.
And, like that's a problem, like crap, you're trying to get gender acceptance. You can't just shame someone into accepting it. You can't.
Yeah, it's
like,
not going to work
I'm
out.
all for acceptance. Like, I believe there's only 2 genders, but if you want to be of whatever gender, go fine. Just don't expect me to like immediately see it with my own eyes. Like, I'm just like, okay, how am I supposed to know that you were what a fucking
popsicle?
Yeah, whatever.
So yeah, so the thing that gets me going is, if a man who is transitioning to a woman, or a woman, vice versa, wants to be called the opposite. So if a woman was going to a man, then she wanted to be called a woman, then it would be very hard for me to do that unless she looked like a woman. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, Bruce Jenner, now Caitlyn Jenner, wants to be called, I believe does she still want to be called a man or her? I forget.
Her.
Does she want to be called a her?
Yeah.
Okay, because I forget the pronouns or whatever they use. And that's another thing. Like, okay, so I'll finish this off. Basically, if you want to be called a woman and you were a man at one point and you're transgender now and you are a woman, and I will do my best to call you woman, even though I will slip up almost every single time, because your Adam's apple will make me confused, or something of your man hands will get me confused, or the hair or wherever. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, if I do meet someone who's transgender, I'm just gonna call them by what they want to be called, like whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Fine, just don't get mad at me when I make the mistake.
When I make a
all right?
mistake.
How am I supposed to, know
Because-
who you are?
as soon as I get chastised for making that mistake, I will say you do realize that you were a man at one point, and it's gonna go off from there.
Yeah, and that also reminds me about that one MMA fighter. I forgot the MMA fighter name.
You know what? Keep talking about. I'm gonna look into.
Apparently there was this MMA fighter who was a woman, and she was extremely dominant in the scene. Like she was like dominating everybody she fought. She did recently lose to one woman, so I guess that kind of just threw the argument off. But whatever. Still,
Her name was Fallon Fox.
Fallon Fox. All right. So the thing was happened is that it was recently, like I don't know how recent it was. This is like kind of old news.
Well, that was my phone, and it's probably fucking broken right now. So
You can go check it. You can check. I'll continue talking. Don't worry.
Yeah, but Fallon Fox.
Yeah.
I blame her for that shit.
Stop. Okay. So pretty much what happened was
Him.
Okay, get go. So pretty much Fallon Fox didn't disclose that she used to be a man, and she went on to say that I just didn't find it important. That is very important because now they know that you're a woman with a lot of testosterone in your system. Even though you have all those, like, I don't know the procedures. I don't know how those procedures go, but she failed to disclose that, and that's part. She said, like, that's not part of, like, that's my personal stuff. That's not a medical. That is medical.
Yeah.
It's very medical.
And then she ended up, disclosing it. And there's a woman fighter who ended up going against her and actually beating her because Fallon Fox was relying on her man strength against women. She was basically fucking hitting women left and right and pounding them viciously. So she was relying on her brute strength. Now she went up against a woman who had a natural born woman who had technique and had all this stuff on her side, and she ended up beating Fallon Fox. So, I mean, it kind of goes to show you, so people get into this debate of whether women and men should play in the same leagues. So, but I guarantee you, and I've seen videos of this, if you place Serena Williams on a men's tennis team, and you rank her, she's going to rank like number 80 something in the world. And right now she's number 1 in the world. She wouldn't do good in male. She wouldn't be a star. Like these women who are successful and amazing athletes, if they were ever put into the men's league, they wouldn't have their time to shine because men are always going to be stronger.
But why do you think that? Like you think like she has plenty of skill, so I don't see why she wouldn't do. I don't see why she would do bad against like another man. Like this is tennis we're talking about. Either like
it is tennis, and there's videos of it on YouTube of her going against guys. She can't hit their serves.
I mean, I've seen those videos too, and it's the way they serve them.
Yeah,
the way they serve them
with full power.
Well, I don't know. It's not just full power. It's the way like it's like the way they hit the ball and how it lands on their side, and it just immediately gets. They hit it like in the, I forgot what it was called, like in the box, I guess.
Yeah, in the box, which is where it has to hit. So like then you can go back immediately with someone saying, then why can the other guy hit it?
And I don't think it's really a test of strength for tennis, though. I really just think it's more of like, it's just who you, depending you're going on. Like, I looked at those videos and it looked like the guy was using some pretty dirty tactics, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like,
he's the world's best server. Even guys hate going against him because.
All right, then there you go. Then there you go. Then I don't think it's more that. That's not really more of a gender thing. That's more of just that's just how he
skill and technique thing too.
It's just how he plays. That one guy, I saw it and it looked kind of dirty what he was doing.
Yeah, it was dirty because he was proving a point, and because when he's lost to people before, so obviously people can hit those serves, but it's kind of harder for a woman to do it because maybe the reach is not their advantage. Maybe they're smaller.
No, I saw those, and I think it's just like I said, it's just the mentality of he was going.
Okay,
his mentality was, I'm just gonna hit it in the box, but I'm gonna make sure like it's
100 miles an hour.
Not like that. He's hitting it in a way where it's gonna be impossible for them to be able to reach out to it in time to get it. To be able to hit it back.
I think that if women were to be in men's sports, they would suck.
I mean, there's plenty of instances where there's girls in the football leagues and they do just fine as the boys.
I know, but they're not in NFL.
Well, that's different.
No, it's not.
That's the NFL.
It's not different. If I were to put a woman through high school football, college football, and put her into the NFL as a lineman, like she would get toppled over. No matter who it was, like she would be overpowered by anyone in the NFL, even the smallest player.
Well, true.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like no matter what, or like there's a bunch of people in weightlifting. There's a woman or a trans woman in Australia, I believe it was. She entered the women's weightlifting for. I forget what her weight class is, but it was a heavier division. I think it was the heaviest division for women. And she used to be a man, and she's over here deadlifting, almost 400 pounds. And the women aren't even deadlifting that much, and she took home the trophy. All the women are pissed.
Oh, yeah, I'd be pissed about
because
that
she's a natural-born man, and they're even saying that men are stronger. They have their own division. Why is she not in that division, even though she's a transgender, and they feel like they were cheated? So I think that if you put a man against a woman, that takes their limelight away.
And that also gives me a story about, and this back to high school. There was this transgendered girl. She used to be a boy, now a girl, in the wrestling team. And
yeah, I've heard of that one too.
They put her against the girls, and she was just dominating. And then after she won and took the gold, she was getting booed at because everybody knew that she was a boy born a boy. Like.
Right, and it just wasn't fair.
It wasn't, yeah, exactly. It wasn't fair at all. And this was in Texas, and obviously it's completely different over there in Texas, like how they look, and it's more conservative over there. So there could have been like plenty of reasons why she was getting booed at, but down to it was not fair.
I can speak from firsthand experience because I actually did wrestling in high school, and one of those times I had to go against a woman because my weight was, I believe, I was in the 105-pound division. I was small in high school. And, my coach came up to me and he was like, hey, just to let you know, like your next match is going to be against a girl. And then he was like, don't hold back. He's like, pick her up and put her down. And he's like, just win the fight. So I was like, okay. He was like, he basically told me don't feel shy or don't feel like you're doing something wrong because you're going to lose if you do. Like,
I mean, I know you're not going to feel shy at all.
Yeah. At first I did. I didn't go up there shy. I worked out of my system over the next 10 minutes, while the other match was going on. And, when I went up there, I basically went for a takedown, got my takedown, took her down, and I slammed her kind of hard. And then the coach, which was her dad, was kind of like, hey, and I was like, what do you mean? This is wrestling. This is full contact. I'm not gonna lose to a girl if I don't have to, and I don't think I should be. I should have to, So I took her down, and then after that I got a point, and after that point we went into the down position, and then they gave her the head over me, and then she tried taking me down by my hand, and I immediately yanked it and stood up and got back in a position of dominance, and then we wrestled around for a bit more, and then I got her in a half Nelson, and I put her in a pin. So, I mean, and then I ended up winning, obviously. And she wasn't strong. I just had to, beat her willpower that she had going because she was really putting in her effort, and I didn't want to hurt her. Now, if this were another guy, I felt like I would have had the full. If I felt another guy with the strength that she had, I would have felt the right to slam them harder. And I did slam her the first time, but not as hard as I would have a guy. So I was being biased towards her for that because I obviously felt weird about it. It was the first time I ever, had an altercation like that with a girl that wasn't my sister. Because me and my sister wrestled all the time, but that's my sister. But yeah, I just believe that women have their own divisions for reasons. And I feel like if you put a woman runner against Usain Bolt, no luck.
Yeah, Usain Bolt's crazy.
That's not going to happen. So I feel like the best woman in the world would not be able to compete with Usain Bolt. Therefore, they wouldn't get the limelight. They wouldn't get first place. They would be training so hard to never get first place. Put them against other women of their caliber who are training, however they are, have the same genetic makeup, the same, muscle mass, building capabilities, then put them against there so they can shine, so they can get their endorsements, on TV, and they can get their brands with Nike and stuff. Otherwise, it's going to be all guys getting their brands, and then it gives them something, more to complain about.
Yeah. I think only a certain handful of sports can only be co-ed. Like first, like tennis, obviously. I feel like tennis can definitely be co-ed. It's just
Maybe.
it depends on the mentality. Think about it.
Maybe. I mean, because strength has a lot to do with
Yeah,
it.
strength does have a lot to do with it, but in the end, like, you know, the way they play, the way they use their skill, and what they're like trying to go for, like,
Yeah.
that really plays heavily into it. And that's like when I talked about in the video, that guy, he looked like he didn't want to like play a game. He looked like he just straight up wanted to win. So he was gonna hit that ball. He was gonna serve that ball in a way that he was gonna make it hard for the other team to be able
to score.
Yeah, so
to hit the ball
it was
back.
regardless of like the strength. And yes, he was putting his strength into it,
Yeah.
obviously, but at the same time, I could tell by the way he was hitting it.
He's trying to be a dick about it.
Yeah,
and
he was
win.
trying to be a dick about it and win. That's what I was trying to get
I
at.
know that's what you're getting at. It's just like what happens when he does that to every woman player. And like, you see what I mean? Because guys can hit it. Guys have gone against him and beat him. So
Yeah, obviously.
So obviously he's used serves like that on guys. So my thing is like, it would be harder for women, especially he was going against Serena Williams. And
Well,
Serena
yeah.
Williams is the best woman. So it's just like, if you put anyone in the top 20 against him, they're more likely not going to be able to compete. And he is one of the best players that was playing. I forget his name, but he was one of the best players in tennis that was playing. And they said, and the analysts were saying, like, if you ranked Serena Williams in the male category, because they were talking about it during the actual, I think it was a charity event. It was men
Yeah.
and women, one man, one woman on one side, and one man, one woman on the other side. So they're basically saying that if you put Serena Williams in there and you ranked her, she wouldn't even rank in the top 80,
Oh, damn.
like in the male athlete category. So that's saying something, even with her stats and whatnot. Like, it's saying something because they put stats into it. You know,
Right.
all time serves, all time, points, all times, whatever.
You know, soccer could be kind of co-ed too.
Soccer could be co-ed, maybe.
Definitely. I mean, soccer does have its problems as its sports itself, but like,
With the red cards, and
Yeah.
you're not supposed to do
And on-
certain things.
yeah, and on top of that, how like there's certain practices that they're being done in the FIFA, which is like really.
Soccer's a cleaner sport.
Yeah, soccer is definitely a cleaner sport, and I can definitely see that being more co-ed friendly,
Yeah,
especially
because I played on the co-ed soccer team when I was littler.
and then you'd be surprised like how.
And it wasn't bad, I liked it. We never have any problems, and the girls were just as good as the boys in soccer. I think that maybe I don't want to say swimming. I don't think swimming. Guys are too fast. They're too strong. They have a longer stroke most of the
Yeah.
time. Most of the time, guys are taller than girls, and that has a lot to do in swimming.
Mm.
There's a handful, man. There's a handful of things that girls could probably do alongside men. But the thing is like it brings me back to
baseball.
No,
No, you don't think so?
no. I played baseball too, and I don't think so. I mean, I could see a girl getting a base hit. I can see a girl getting maybe a home run. I can see a girl scoring, definitely. But I can't see a girl. There's a reason why they have softball and baseball.
Yeah.
And, guys play softball too, but only when they get older.
Right.
When they get, for some reason, only old men play softball. Or some younger men do, but most of the time it's older men in the older leagues. But I don't know. Maybe baseball, maybe. But my thing is like this. What happens if you have a girl catcher and you have a guy running from third base, right? So technically there is a rule that if you are a runner from third base into home, you can hit the catcher with your full body weight and try to knock the ball out of their hands. What happens if a man runs into a woman catcher and basically trucks the shit out of her and makes her drop that ball so he can score?
Well,
Would
this
people
is-
frown upon it?
Oh yeah, there's people pissed about that. But
Yeah.
I know what you're getting at.
Yeah,
definitely.
it's just like there are some stipulations in sports like that is a weird stipulation in baseball. If you're trying to score and the catcher's crowding home plate and is going to get you out, you're legally allowed to hit him. And it's actually, I recommend you go watch that on YouTube. Look up catchers getting hit by runners, and it's crazy because they get hit hard. And you think football has some hard hits? Damn, these people have like no pads on,
Oh yeah.
and they're doing full body contact. It's crazy. Yeah, a sport that women could compete in is like rock climbing. There's
Oh, yeah.
tons of women rock climbers, and they're actually, I would say they're better at it than a lot of guys because of their flexibility.
Free running, American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, free.
I definitely see like
yeah.
men versus women. Like how they have those teams going against each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes there'll be like a man and a woman, and I've seen some women do good against a guy.
Yeah. I could definitely say that too. Like I can agree with
skateboarding.
yeah, skateboarding,
There's
surfing.
There's I think she's Brazilian, I think, and like And while she does like, she's very clean on it, like no f ups on her like landing, on her like style and everything on when she's skateboarding. Like she's super clean. Like I've seen comments where it's like she's not doing anything impressive. It's like, no, that's not. You're looking at the sport of skateboarding wrong.
Yeah.
In the sport of skateboarding, it's like how cleanly you do it, how much like I don't know how to say it.
It's like it's how clean you land stuff, and it's how clean, like if it doesn't look like you almost landed it.
Like sure, you can do an impressive trick, but for the moment you fuck up the landing, you fucked it up. And
yeah,
you
it's
lost
not as pretty.
Yeah,
it's not as pretty.
Yeah, exactly. It's you. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to get at. Like,
yeah,
she's like really good.
Right. Like, see, I think that women should have their like. I think they need their limelight, because I just feel like if they were put in some scenarios against guys, that it wouldn't be a good outcome, and then guys would get the blame. Guys get the blame for everything, I feel like, and we don't really complain about it, but we're constantly chastised about things we say about womanizing people, and we said, what? Like
those double standards.
There's double standards. I mean, like I've talked to girls before who were friends of mine, and they slept with a lot of guys, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't,
like,
and
their life is their life.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I told them. And well, she told me a story of her talking to her boyfriend, and there was a question that came up, and it was like, oh, how many people have you slept with? And he told her, his number, and then her number was higher than his, so he got all kind of pissed off about that. And basically she was like, whoa, what's the double standard here? What happens if you were to sleep with more people? Would I have to feel like you're nasty and you should get tested and I shouldn't have to sleep with you? Sure, that's her right to feel that way. And I mean, I guess he has a right to feel that way, but not really.
Yeah, no, you can't just like be mad because they have a higher number.
Yeah, he thought his girlfriend was a whore, basically. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, just because you slept with an X amount of people doesn't mean that you're a whore.
Yeah, no.
It just means that you were trying to have fun, and that's your life. Like,
live
your life the way you want to do it. I don't believe in that double standard at all.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah,
that's one thing I don't like.
I don't like
being
that
called
either.
a whore for stuff like that is stupid, because guys do it a lot. Girls do it a lot too.
Might as well call them man whores then.
Yeah, exactly. Like, guys just aren't called whores because no one cares who they sleep with, and it's a thing that's been going on through the centuries. No one cares what a guy does or sleeps with, or it's always a woman. Adultery, this, that. Like, it wasn't a big thing for guys, but it is for women. It's always been for women. They've had kind of the short end of the stick when it comes to society.
And that's not fair.
And that's what feminism came from, and that's what I agree with.
I agree with that form of feminism, like equal rights.
Right, and the thing is,
equal rights, not like these I hate to say it, feminazis that try to like outdo men and try to get more rights than men. Like
have you seen the video where there was a AC repair guy, and he's like, okay, honey, like it's gonna cost you, and she's like, what did you call me, honey? And it was a video not being serious, but they were actually tackling a real problem that people are having.
Yeah.
Like using words like that to a girl. And he's like, look, sweetheart. And she's like, that's like sexual harassment. And he's like, what? And it was an older guy. So that's like words they used during his time towards women. And she was like, don't call me that. I am a binary, blah, blah, blah. Refer to me as it. Fuck, it's ridiculous. And
another thing, it's just like kind of goes with like how like teachers tend to sleep with children. Like if it was an older male teacher sleeping with a younger child, they get called a pedophile. But if it was a female sleeping with
the student gets a pat on the back, the girl still goes to prison though.
Yeah, but everybody's just like, oh, that's just a cougar. She's just doing her thing. Like, nah, that's a pedophile right there. That's a pedophile. A pedophile is a pedophile. An older person sleeping with a younger underage child.
Yeah, it's the same illness. It's the same issue this person has with themselves, the craving for a younger person. And it there's a lot of things. Okay, so
South Park also tackled that too, and they went to the extreme. It was a kindergarten teacher sleeping with one of the kids.
What?
Yes. And when they were bringing it up, everybody was just going on nice. And I'm just like, no, exactly. That's messed
gross.
up. That's messed up.
At least they're proving a point.
Yeah, they were proving a point that it's just like doesn't matter like if it's male or female on a younger boy, it's still a pedophile being a pedophile.
One thing that's always like I always get on to the topic of whenever people are talking about men and women and whatnot, I always think that women kind of have it made. And hear me out on this, because people always say that they don't. And yeah, there's a lot of political there's a lot of political strides that women have made. There's a lot of obviously there's a lot of successful women in the military and in the world now today than there were ever. And this is the greatest time to be a woman. And if you were to tell me anything otherwise, I'd think you're dumb as fuck. But women now have a voice.
Yes.
And that's always good. Now, getting onto the topic of how women kind of have it made is that if a woman decides to marry a husband, right, most of the time there is no prenuptial agreement, okay? Now, a woman could be with the husband for a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, a month. If they decide to get divorced, she can take his shit via alimony. Yeah. She can take his shit that he's worked for, and she could take as much of it almost as she wants, as long as she talks to a lawyer and his lawyer and they come up with a number, 50% of your shit. You know,
yeah, there's plenty of stories where like ex-husbands get screwed over by their ex-wives only because that ex-wife's vindictive and just wants to.
Where the wife was fucking some other guy and they take the house.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they fuck that guy in the house. It's ridiculous.
There's these, I forgot what it's called, but there's like some, when it's like husbands and wives, like I think it's starting like kind of becoming a practice now where if they were ever to get divorced, like it's already a pre-approved agree upon like what you take, what I'll take.
Yeah, and
it's like, and you know, like I don't want to like that's kind of like fucked up to do in the marriage, but still like, you know,
yeah, guys,
with all these stories coming out that you know, women are screwing, like these ex-wives are screwing over their ex-husbands just because they hate their ex-husbands.
Yeah, and you know, women also, and I'm not saying this is like in the category of having it made, but the world is made easier for them sometimes, such as, you know, people opening doors left and right for them, people doing things for them that they normally wouldn't do for a guy. Usually, for a guy, you are kind of left on your own, and you do your own thing because that is what society says you do. People aren't supposed to help men. Men are supposed to be the earners, the breadwinners, you know, and women are supposed to be the, you know, stay-at-home cook type. And now in times, women are having their own voice, and a lot of them are in a really amazing career, and they're earning their own money, and they're their own breadwinners. And I'm hoping that it gets more to that, that women are kind of socialized as men, and they, you know, we do nice things for them, not out of like sexuality reasons, because guys, whenever they do something for a woman, hold the door, they're probably hoping to get digits, or they're hoping to spark a conversation. And that's not generally a bad thing, but sometimes it just leads to other things that it shouldn't, you know. So if someone held the door open for a girl because they were possibly hoping that they can get a date with that person,
that's just stupid.
That's just dumb. If you're not doing it just to be nice, then what's the guy's problem?
Yeah,
there's a problem, and you know, and
like,
there's
just hold it like me. I just hold open the door for anybody.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like I just do it out of, you know, old ladies. I hold it open for anybody.
Exactly. If I see someone like kind of come up behind me and I've already had the door open, I'm just gonna hold them. It's like, come on, get in.
But I've seen guys run from like the other side of the street to open the door to the same area. They might have been going in the same area, but they run, and I'm like, oh, is he doing it to be nice, or is he doing it to get numbers? Because I'm like, why would you, you know? If you were doing it to be nice, you would have already been there. You know, he kind of went out of his way to do it. So I'm automatically thinking that, yeah, he's just trying to get digits off this person.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go into the topic. I'm just going to say this right now, that women, like, definitely still have a hard time, because there's things that I've noticed that I don't like that guys do to women, and it's like catcalling.
Yeah.
Or it's trying to, you know, hit them up at a gas station, and that actually happened to me really recently, and I'll just brush on it. So I was at a gas station filling up with my girlfriend, and I was just sitting in the passenger seat, and she was filling up, and basically what had happened was the guy started kind of talking towards her like, hey, and I didn't hear anything, and he was talking to someone else, so I thought, you know, that was his own conversation, but he was like looking over at the gas station pump at me, and not at me, at her. And then she was like, hey, is that your brother in the car or something like that? And then she was like, no, that's my boyfriend. And then I was like, damn, we're talking about us. So then I automatically gazed at this dude, And he looked at me and he was like, "Oh no, man, no disrespect. I didn't know that was your girl." Blah 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 blah. And
Bullshit.
because when I looked at him, I kind of gave him like the "what's up" nod.
Yeah.
And he was just like, "Oh no, man, no disrespect, fam. I didn't know that was your girl. I wouldn't do that. I didn't, no ill intent," is basically what he was saying. Because honestly, like, I'm not the type to get out and do shit and start drama or a fight over something like that. But I was pissed. I got really mad, and if he would have escalated it, I couldn't say where it would have gone or where it wouldn't have gone. But still, I definitely would have verbally confronted the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he apologized and everything, so I dropped it.
Yeah.
So I could only take his word for what it was. But that's what I'm saying. Things like that, disrespectful, disgusting, and it's happened to my sister before when I was with my sister. Someone catcalled her. And I went up to the guy's car, I asked, "You got a fucking problem? We're coming from the arcade. We're having a good time." And then some guy catcalls her. I'm like, dude, you're in your 40s. She's 16. She was 16 at the time.
Right.
17 now. But still, this is gross, man. It's disgusting. But I wanted to get into another topic that we haven't really brushed on yet, and I think that we need to. And it's basically the gender pronouns. And that's one thing that I do not understand nor get. I don't understand it.
I think another reason why is because we live in Florida and you don't really see that here in Florida that much. Because, like, I know one thing that's kind of, like, picking up in Florida is the gluten-free diet. I know that's kind of picking up, but that's because Whole Foods are opening up here. But other than that, I just don't see the whole gender pronoun things being a thing here in Florida. I know it's very prevalent, like, somewhere up in, like, California and then...
Yeah, people are saying that there's acceptance of the pronouns in colleges, and there's pamphlets that have been given out to colleges all over the world, in the United States, I should say, actually. And I think they said Georgia's accepting it. California Tech is accepting it. And there's it's a handful of schools that are supposedly accepting this LGBTQ pamphlet for pronouns, pronoun pamphlet. And one of the words, okay, so gender neutral and gender inclusive pronouns. So it's saying, like, some languages such as, like, English do not have gender neutral or third gender pronouns available. And this has been criticized since many writers speak, etc., use he, his when referring to a generic individual and a third party. Also, of he and she in English does not leave room for another gender identity. But why does it need to? Why does it need to leave room for another gender identity? Why can't we just use he and she? I don't understand. If you want to use another pronoun, this is why we make Star Wars movies, so you could have all these other races and have all these other beings. It's true, though. I mean,
yeah,
like, it's kind of out of, and even in these movies, guess what? They have him and hers. They still have men and women, and amongst other creatures and beings. I mean, shit, if I meet a girl on the street and she tells me she wants to be a Wookiee today, I'm going to fucking lose my shit. I'm going to lose it. And it's going to be hard not to crack a joke or 10. I mean, really, I want to be as respectful as I can, but in the laws of reality, I don't want to lie to myself and say, oh, this person she wants to be called Zer. And that's what it says here. It's ridiculous. It says, okay... It says, this is hard to freaking read, and I guarantee you these, so-and-so quote-unquote liberal queers are probably going to be talking towards me about this. But so if you're going to say they, them, their, theirs, themselves, there's words that you would say fey, fair, fairs, fair self. That just... What does that even mean? It's the same thing. Like, you're just adding an F. Like, does that just mean that you're still, And then it says, there's one that says, instead of her, hers, herself, it's her, no, here, also here again, hears and hearself. And that's for herself or for whatever. Zai, they, vex, this. I don't understand what this is. And people are saying that within 50 years, we're going to have this integrated into English society and it's going to be normal. I don't think so because I plan on living a lot longer than 50 years. And I'm still not going to understand this stuff.
Yeah, I don't see that getting integrated into like the Floridian
There's
society, especially.
There's too many pronouns. And
Not to mention, it's kind of just like it's a fad. It's a trend. I don't want to say like it's like I'm not trying to be mean when I'm saying this. I'm just trying to say like, look, either sooner or later, some people are gonna move on. Not everybody's gonna continue living like that to their old age, you know.
I mean, look at Woodstock. Look at the hippies. Look at all that stuff. It
Look
was
at
a
the fucking
big thing
hipsters.
back in the day. It's huge.
I remember growing up, hipsters was a huge thing, and now where the fuck are they?
They're nowhere.
They're
They don't
nowhere.
exist. And there are hipsters and stuff like. I mean, my mom was born in 73. My dad was born in 69. So I guarantee you there were still hipsters then and stuff like that. But dude, they are all not really around. You don't see them often.
Yeah. I know.
And when you do, it's like, damn, like that's an ancient dinosaur right there.
Like, and I'm not trying to say that some people aren't going to continue living like that. Yeah, they're going to some people who are going to live like that to their old age. They're probably going to want to continue being preferred by those pronouns until their old age. And, you know, that's fine. That's you. Just don't get upset with me when I don't, because when I meet you out of, and you're just a random stranger to me and I call you a he.
Don't
or
get
she,
triggered.
And then you're just like, that's not what I am. I'm just like, okay, look, I don't know who the fuck you are and I don't give a fuck who you care. But if that's your first impression, go fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, if your first impression of a person is they are sus because they did not pronounce you by your pronoun, and they don't even know you, how can they foresee the future? They can't tell the future.
Seriously, I'm just literally going to say, all right, that's my first impression. I don't want to know you anymore.
Get it tattooed on your fucking forehead if you want someone to call you.
And, you know, I don't mind being corrected, but just be polite about it. It's like, hey, look, that's not what I want to be called by. Just please, if you please can call me by this. I'm like, all right, I'll do my best. No problems.
Yeah, if you come out and you say, hey, just to let you know, I'm transgender, or hey, just to let you know.
Or tell me your name. I'll just go call you by your name from here on
Yeah,
out. I'm just like, yo, so-and-so.
Yeah, or like just to let you know I'm a woman who wants to go by it, or just say, hey, yeah, it's going out or whatever. Just, yeah, then if you feel that way and you tell me, I will respect that. Like,
Yeah.
I will do as much as possible, but if I slip up, don't get mad.
Yeah, I'll be just like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I'm trying to try my best.
Yeah, I'll just be like, oops, like, because I'll try to call anybody whatever they want to be called, but whenever people make it a freaking point, that hey, you have to call me this, and you should have known, kind of like, how do I know?
That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, no, I'm not
know?
gonna take a good look at you and say, yeah, that's a dog.
Yeah, you could be anything. It just is just different, and people don't know how to really think about it yet. I don't know what to think about it. But have you ever ran into any...
Like I said, dude, here in Florida, that stuff doesn't exist.
Well, I mean, like
Florida is a typically conservative state. It's very, not to mention it's a very political state as well. So that's why I'm just like, that stuff isn't really here. I don't know if you ran into it.
Like, I have ran into stuff like that. That's why I'm at, and it's, where it's at mostly is colleges. I've ran into it when I was going to FSW. I ran into that a few times. This is not on the same topic, but this as the same day that there was a like some sort of, have you ever seen the Westboro Baptist Church? Do you know what they're about?
Yeah, I know what they're about.
Okay, so yeah,
They're a troublesome group.
Yeah, so for the people who don't know, the Westboro Baptist Church goes to people's, like, soldiers' funerals and pickets them and says it's a good thing they're dead. They say fags deserve to die, and, all soldiers are fags, and sodomy and all that stuff. They're going to hell.
They cause a lot of problems, and they always start fights.
Yes.
Like, they start with fights with people who don't even want to fight.
Right. And they don't physically go out and do stuff, but the verbality, the way they speak,
like they're asking for it.
Yeah, they're asking for it, and they're going to upset people, and they know it. So what I'm getting at is, when I was at school one time, there was a rally of people kind of like that, and they were talking about how gays are going to jail, and I mean, gays should go to jail because they're going to hell anyway. And they were saying that God has greater plans. And it was a group of about maybe 8 people, 9 people, but they were loud. They all had microphones on boom mics, and so they had like cameras there. They were recording for a DVD, I guess, and so that was a perfect time. One of the girls ran off with this like, it's kind of funny, but she had like a buzz cut, and she had like dyed pink hair or something like that. And I was like, that's one of those LGBT girls, I swear. She runs off, right? And these people, like, you don't see her for like 10 minutes or so, about 10 minutes. And then she ends up coming back and with a group of LGBT girls. And I'm like, this is a fucking dream, isn't it? Yeah. And so these girls girls and guys, or
they're just defending their rights, you know? In my opinion, those people that you're saying, like, that are trying to like spout that kind of bigotry, you know, they're just spouting bigotry, and obviously someone from that community is gonna respond back, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what America's about.
Yeah, that's what it's about. And
that's a debate right there. That's like two communities peacefully protesting. Well, I don't know if I can say peacefully, but they're still protesting their right,
because it felt like hate speech that was being spread. That's why.
Yeah, and that's just how America is, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And for the people who are wondering why these people were on campus and how are they allowed on campus, if you can go to any campus, it is a public domain. You can preach whatever you want.
Yeah,
it's called freedom of speech.
That's why you see most of these news outlets always talking about local colleges or like these universities.
Now, what happened was this girl came back with her squad of LGBTQ community. And I was on their side for this because, you know, that community has fought for so much rights. And, you know, I mean, just whenever we were growing up, it was illegal to get married being gay. I remember when that was passed, you know.
Yeah.
Hearing about that, I thought that was cool and stuff. So these people come over, and because I'm not going to say pronouns or whatnot, because I guarantee you some of them didn't go by he or she. But these people came by, and they started defending themselves, and they started saying, this girl, one of my favorite parts was this, the lead guy of this group that was preaching was talking to this black woman, and she was like, I have a girlfriend, am I going to hell? And then he was like, I'm sorry to tell you, but yes, like, you're going to hell. And then she like brought her girlfriend over, and she's like, I love my girlfriend. She kissed her on the lips right in front of him.
There you go.
And I was like, oh, bitch. I was like, I like that. I was like,
give
that
it to them.
Good. Yeah, it gave me some goosebumps. I liked it. I thought it was cool.
I'm like, fight it.
And then, one of the guys there was a veteran. He was a veteran. So he was like preaching this, yada, yada. So I went over to him, and I was just like, hey, man, I was like, do you really agree with this? I'm like, where did you serve? He was like, he was like, I was in the Marines. I don't know too much about the Marines, but basically I was like, oh yeah, you know, I asked him what was his MOS and stuff like that, and he was getting back to me with all those details, and I just asked him, like, why did you find yourself here? And he's like, oh, because, you know, I've always been against this and that. I'm like, you're against it, or God was against it? I'm like, I'm confused now. Because, like, I'm like, why are you guys preaching the word of God when you say that you're against it? You're not God.
Yeah.
So then I asked him, I was like, you just said that you've always been against this, so you're joining this. I said, so you're joining this for a hate group? I asked him that, and he's like, no. He's like, this is in the Bible. You can't do this. Men shall not lay with men, and women shall not lay with women. And I was like, I haven't read the Bible through and through. I went to Christian school for 5 years, but never was I taught, you know, and during that time that men and men shall not lay together, and women shall not lay together. And I'm not saying it's not in the Bible, but what I am saying is that I was just never taught that while I was at school. And usually they would kind of say something along those lines. It was never a clear line. So I asked him, I was just like, you just said that you've always been against gays and the lifestyle of being gay, you know, a man and a man, or a woman and a woman. And he just said, yeah, I have always looked against that, but that's because of my Christian beliefs. And I was like, okay, but that still doesn't, you know, justify the fact that you just said you're against it yourself. So you joined a group that was against it. So you could have joined any number of groups who are against it. I mean, what if he joined the KKK? You know, he might like black people and think, or he might like, you know, but he was joining them just because they're against gays, you know?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And I'm just thinking this Christian group was the only one that supported a portion of his belief, so he joined them.
Right.
Not all of his beliefs, you know? So it's just weird. But yeah, he's like, you're going to hell. And I was like, well, you can't say that I'm going to hell. And I was like, actually, you can, because guess what? I had sex before marriage. So, yeah, maybe I am going to hell if you believe into that that like strict of the rule set.
Yeah.
But just because you have sex before you get married doesn't mean you're going to hell. It just means that you sinned.
And is that what he said?
No, I said that.
Oh.
I said just because I had sex before I was married doesn't mean I'm going to hell, but it does. I guess it technically means that I'm a sinner. And I was like, technically you're a sinner right now. I'm pretty sure you've done some shit. And I'm like, being in the military, if you ever served time and you had the unfortunate experience of having to kill somebody, then you just committed murder, my friend.
Yeah.
I mean, like, where are you going for that? That's one of the like 10 deadly ones right there.
Oh yeah.
So good luck with that, mate. That's basically what I was saying. So after I had enough of that shit, I ended up going home, but it just like, it didn't make sense to me most of the time. And that's something that I've seen personally. But I thought it was a cool display of bonding when the community came out. And I feel like that's how the LGBTQ community should be. Is they should be like that. And I'm sure they are, but they're getting more, it's like they're getting more aggressive, man. There's all these riots and stuff.
I wouldn't say the entire community. I'd say there are parts of the community.
I'd say there's a large part of the community. I mean, with these riots, man, have you seen these riots going on? They have like rainbow colored gas canisters and they're hitting the police with rocks and shit. And they're bringing firecrackers, the M80 firecrackers.
Oh, damn. I didn't see those.
Yeah, like they're all over YouTube. It's insane. And one group of people sparks with another group of people, so it looks like a bigger group than what it is. And most of them aren't LGBT community members. LGBTQ. Yeah, whatever. And it's just crazy. It's just, there needs to be kind of a strict policy with them. Like, we do not support people who do this, that, or whatever, you know, because that just makes them lose legitimacy as a community. And they're gaining so hard. And I would hate to see them lose their foot in the door in any sort of legislation that can get some laws passed for them because someone is, you know, throwing rocks at cops.
Yeah.
And they're doing unpeaceful protests because you can protest in America as long as it's peaceful.
Yeah, just don't start shit.
Yeah, just don't start shit and get people hurt.
Exactly.
Basically. So, and what about you? Anything? Have you ever like seen any?
No, like I said, most of the stuff I've seen is mostly online. Like I don't see those. I've not went to college yet. I did go to one college, but I'm not long enough.
You should bring that up really quick. It's kind of funny.
Oh, what the ITT Tech Institute.
It's a like a lightning story. Yeah, go for it.
All right, so I went to college for a bit. It was ITT Tech. I ended up doing some research while I was there about the school. I found out it was a for-profit school, so literally everything they did was for a profit. I kind of started doing really bad in school, personally to myself, but I saw that I was still getting passing grades. I was just like, well, okay, what's going on? Started getting very skeptical, and then sooner or later, I found out that the school was kind of a scam school. So I was just like, all right, I'm not going to show up anymore. So I stopped showing up for a week. And then after a while, my parents were trying to convince me to go back. And then I thought about it. And then I heard on the news that the entire branch of ITT Tech got shut down. I was like, oh. So I was not going to. So regardless of what I did, I wasn't going to continue going to ITT Tech. But if anybody here knows about ITT Tech, you all probably know. Some of you probably know that it's not a good. It was never a good school from the start. And I learned that through like actually going there. So it was like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like I was doing basic math in a college class, and I was just like, why am I doing basic math? Why am I doing stuff that I would that I would see in a freaking third grade class?
That's ridiculous.
I was just like I was just like, wow, I'm starting to see why a lot of people. And then I found out that there are places that would actively work careers that would actively deny you if they saw that you have ITT Tech.
Yeah, because they know you weren't educated enough.
I was just like,
degree.
And I'm just like, what did I sign up for? Like, that's what I was thinking in my head. And I know this
Yeah.
is off topic, but still, I was just like, what did I sign up for? What am I doing here?
Well, it's good. I wanted to take a break of the stuff we're talking about and kind of break it up with something like that because I thought it would be like kind of funny and eye opening to some people. Because sometimes what you see isn't what you get, and that's what I
Yeah,
wanted to get to the
and-
point of.
And the reason why I went to ITT Tech is because I was signing up for different colleges and I wasn't getting much luck. And so I went to ITT Tech and they immediately called me the same day I applied. And I was like, oh, this is great. I finally found a breakthrough. But then it was one of those too good to be true.
Right.
And then I looked it up and then I was just like, this is a scam school. Great.
Yeah. So and I'm happy you talked about that because you broke up all the seriousness, which is good. But I wanted to hop back into transgender and why the facts that I said that I had, that I believe that it's not good for someone to teach a child that they can be a man or a woman. So, for instance, if you have a daughter, or in this case, a boy, and you basically say, hey, you can be a woman if you want, and they say, okay, well, they dress up like this, like that, whatever. I believe that's damaging to the psyche of the individual, the child. So, because whenever they grow up to do stuff, sports and whatnot in school, they're not going to be allowed to because they only have, in high school, they only have, teams for boys and girls. They hardly have a co-ed team. I know of one girl who I actually went to high school with, and she was on the boys team, but she never played. Jason told me about that because he was on the football team. Carly Slivko, you remember Carly?
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
that was
she was on the boys team, and I can't speak of if I don't know if she played or anything like that. I know she definitely hit the practices all the time. She's always been a tomboy and like a tough girl. So I'm assuming she did well in practice, but I don't know if she ever played. I don't know if the coach ever put her up against these big dudes. But I do know of an instance where a girl has been put on a football team. Now, basically what I was trying to get at, though, is you've heard of Eddie Money?
I think so.
I'm just kidding. I was fucking with you. That's a guy. That's a guy who...
I'm not even lying. I've actually kind of heard a name of that before.
I know you have because he's an artist. He's a music artist.
Right.
I was just fucking with you for a second. But no, this guy's name is John Money.
Right.
Okay. And he... Okay, I'll introduce him in chronology.
Right.
So there was a boy, and he was one twin, so he had a brother, and the parents took them to go get circumcised. Now they had a disorder to where, or a medical condition of where the foreskin of the penis could not peel back. It was like I don't know what it was called, but it was a long medical term for it, and basically they had to get it circumcised off. And the doctor that they took the boy to, or they were going to take the boys to, one of the twins went first, and he was using a cauterizing technique, which is a burning technique to take the foreskin off, and it's not a proper technique, and he basically burnt the boy's penis off. Because it's a baby's penis, it's small.
Yeah.
You could really easily mess it up. So he messed it up. And he basically, it's beyond fixing, beyond recognition. So the parents were totally, gobsmacked about it. And they were like, damn, like, what the hell? And this guy's name was John Money. And so they said, okay, he suggested to them, I have an idea. You can tell your kid that he was born a girl and that everything will be okay. Just never let them know that he was a man, yada, yada. Okay, and they obviously didn't circumcise the other boy. His condition actually cleared up on its own. So the kid's growing up, wearing dresses, growing out the hair and everything, is told he's a girl. They changed his name from whatever to whatever. And she ends up starting to get really, like, depressed and whatnot throughout the years. And they start, they're taking him to the doctor, and they're giving him estrogen treatments, which is, it's a woman hormone. It's the opposite of testosterone. And, the girl ends up becoming really, really, like, depressed and whatnot, and she feels like she's not herself, and basically the mom ends up finally telling the kid one day, hey, you were actually born a boy, and your penis was, burnt off during this, and we've told you you're a girl this whole time, but you've always been a boy. So she's like, oh my God, like, this is music to my ears. Like, I knew something was wrong. So what happened was, is the girl was still seeing this doctor, and they were just like, no, we told our daughter that, this and that. And this doctor wanted to prove the theory that nurture versus nature. So if you nurture somebody to be a boy or a girl, that is the way it will be, that you can nurture them to be a gender. And I don't believe in that, and I'm sure the parents don't believe in that now, because the boy ended up having a lot of issues. Now, the other brother who was not circumcised ended up becoming schizophrenic, and he killed himself. And the boy who was once, the girl who was once, the boy who got his penis circumcised and mangled, who was now a girl, who is now transitioning back to a boy, was getting these testosterone treatments, and she actually got a penis recreated for him, and she was living her life, and the doctor told her that she would never be the same again, that she wanted to that if he was trying to convince her one last time so he could prove his theory, basically. And she told the mom, she's like, if I ever have to see a doctor again, I'm gonna kill myself.
So that's when the mom was like, all right, no more.
Yeah, so the mom was like, no more. But the death of her brother was just a lot for her for him to handle.
And then not to mention, like, I think I know the story you're talking about.
Yeah.
That, like his life, he ended up like losing a lot of money because of a con man, I think.
Yeah, so
and that's completely different from the whole
yeah, they ended up suing the doctor and suing for like other things, and they got money out of it for the kid. And so like the guy lost the money and made a bad business deal, and basically was grieving over his brother's death still, and he ended up committing suicide because his whole life was a lie, and all his other things that had happened to him. So it's just,
and that all could have been easily avoided if the parents, instead of taking a huge complicated route, if I was the kid's parents, I would have just looked at the doctor and I said, why did you botch my kid's penis like that?
Yeah,
like,
I'm suing you. It's malpractice.
Yeah, that exactly. That was malpractice right
And
there. I would have talked to the lawyer. Said, look, this is doctor. He did something not traditionally, a very harmful
burning technique.
Yeah,
cauterizing technique.
Yeah, and that's like, and I'm pretty sure that's not what the parents wanted.
I highly doubt it.
I'm pretty sure the parents wanted the more traditional route
with the scalpel. With the
blade. But this doctor decided to do his own thing because he's like, oh, I'm a doctor. I don't know the story, but if I was the parents, I would have just sued the doctor.
Yeah.
Get the money from him,
definitely,
and then work onto like helping my son get back his life,
getting his life back to normal, how it should be. Now,
but instead they decided to listen to this doctor, who was highly respected in his field, and in reality, he just wanted to prove his theory right, and he didn't care who he was going to hurt, who he was going to screw over.
How would you feel? Okay, so now we talked about this is kind of a oddity in situations. This doesn't happen often, so now we know how you would react, and I would react the same exact way. So you answered my question, you answered my side basically for me. How would you react if you had a daughter and or son who told you they wanted to be the opposite sex, or they told you they didn't know about any of this stuff in the media, they just told you they didn't feel like a boy, they didn't hear about anything on the news, they just told you out of their own natural feeling? How would you feel if they had told you that?
I would, kind of start asking them a few questions, just see, like, I would like try to see if they are not confused, like, I want to make sure, like, they know what they want.
Right.
I mean, I would be
they're a kid.
Yeah, if they were kids, then I'd be just like, look, you're still young, and if you want to continue, like, doing boyish things, and if she was a girl, go ahead, be what you want. I'll be there to support you, but as of right now, you're still young. I want to see how you are
develop
later. Yeah, like, and if you're like, say, like 16 years old and you're still trying to be a boy, and I'm like, all right, then I'll talk to you about it. We've talked about getting procedures. I'd be supportive.
So if you have a boy and he's asking you for Barbies for his birthday, the girl Barbies, maybe even a dream castle, would you buy that for him for his birthday?
If it's what he really
wants.
What he
wanted.
If it's what he wanted, I'll give it to him. Sure.
Yeah, and
I'm not, like, look, like, if I'm gonna have a kid, I'm gonna be supportive of my kid and what they want. I'm gonna try to, like, let them be proud of who they are. I'm not gonna, like, shame them just because like the whole
They want to play with certain toys.
yeah, it's like, you know, if you want to play with Barbies, I'll buy you Barbies. You want like a freaking Dreamcast? I'll get you the Dreamcast. You want the Ken's Playhouse set? I'll give you the Ken's
Yeah.
Playhouse set.
Yeah, that's what. And I agree.
You want to dress up
I
as
agree.
Elsa for Halloween? All right, then I'll get you the Elsa shit.
I agree. I agree.
But I will tell him right now. I said, just don't expect many other people
to get you.
Yeah, to get you. It's like, I'll be there to support you. I will be there to make sure that you're happy with who you are, and you can always come back to me for support and guidance. I'll be there for you.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be like a journey for me too. It's gonna be something different.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, if I want a kid, I want a kid.
Yeah.
But I'm not
And
gonna
there's
like.
a bunch of responsibilities that come with that, and
Yeah.
that's however they become as a person.
Yeah, and if
You
you know,
gotta
like I
take that
said,
on.
if like that girl wants to be a boy when she grows up, I'm like, all right, then let's do this.
Yeah, because I've never gotten whenever, you know, when people come out to their parents and they tell them that they're gay for the first time, that some parents are just like, or a lot of parents are just like, no, like, oh my God, they freak out about it. But I get it because of what the time they were born in, but I also don't get it because
They need to remember that their kid are their own person.
Yeah,
they're not the property.
they're not property.
They're not just another like shoe on the rack.
They made another person, but that person isn't you. It's got parts of you, DNA of you, characteristics of you, but it's not you. And just because your kid is gay or, you know, whatever the case is, doesn't mean that you are a bad person. And people think that because people think gay is bad. I mean, even I'm guilty of using the word gay. Like, I'm like, oh, it's gay. Like, I don't say it anymore like as much because it's just something a kid would say. But if something sucks or if something is just stupid, you just say, you know, oh, that's gay. And I'm sure you said it a million times yourself.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
yeah, I've said it too. I'm like, and I don't mean it like in a way like I'm homophobic. Like,
yeah.
I'm still like,
even though it sounds that way. But people just say it all the time, and comedians, like I talked about on the last podcast, you know, how when a comedian is a joke, it becomes part of social culture. And
yeah, people take comedians way too seriously. Like comedians, are
they have a big influence on things, you know, words they
and
say.
I'm pretty sure some comedians don't even want that. I'm pretty sure they just want to tell a joke and have laugh with other people.
I'm sure Bill Cosby was hoping for that too. Yep. Tell people about that. Explain what I'm trying to say about that, because
All right. So for those who live under a rock, a comedian called Hannibal Buress, and in my opinion, Hannibal is an all right comedian. I'm not trying to get jabs on him. I'm
Yeah.
just saying like
he's not your taste.
he's not my taste. But what I'm trying to say is that Hannibal said a joke about Bill Cosby, and then he said that something about him being a rapist or some shit. I don't know how he worded it. I completely forgot. But he just said the joke innocently. And then that joke alone re-sparked a 50-year conflict. For 50 years, these women were trying to get justice for what Bill Cosby did. And I guess some of you will believe it. Some of you won't. I understand. There's plenty sides of the debate. A lot of people grew up with Bill Cosby and like love him for who he was and what they saw. But what I'm trying to say is that these women were trying to be vocal for 50 years. 50 years. Nobody would listen. Nobody would believe them. But a comedian who barely gets any, you know, traction. Like he had a show on Comedy Central for a while. It was all right. It was an all right show.
He's really good friends with Joe Rogan too.
Yeah, he is. And he's also a part of this other show on Adult Swim called The Eric Andre Show. That's a crazy show. I suggest watching if you're really into crazy shit. But again, you know, he doesn't get much traction. He gets traction here and there, but what I'm trying to say is that
One joke.
He said one joke about Bill Cosby, and all of a sudden he re-sparked a 50-year debate, and now everybody is kind of starting to believe these women.
And this 80-year-old man's going to be in prison for 30 years now.
And on top of that, when people kept asking him about it, he was like, man, I just said that as a joke. I'm getting tired of people asking me about that shit. You know, he was just like, I don't even care. Like, I just said that as a joke. Like, he didn't even expect that one joke to spark a huge debate. Like,
He imprisoned Bill Cosby and the thing that's crazy is that no one believed, and this is why I wanted to bring this up too, and I'm happy that joke kind of spurred out, because these women over 5 decades, there was over 50 women over 50 women over 50 decades were trying to say something about Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
And that they were never heard because of Hollywood and how they were silenced by the man.
And on top of that, it was Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby had
his
this
fame,
he had
money.
He had this, and the way that Bill Cosby was looked at, he was looked as the family man. Like,
Right,
he was
because
looked
of the
at
Cosby
wholesome,
Show.
Yeah, he was looked as the wholesome guy.
Just because you play a person doesn't mean you are a person. I guarantee you, if you get Tom Cruise in a fist fight, he'll probably fucking lose. He is not Mission Impossible dude in real life.
Yeah.
Like, people watch too much movies and they think that the people that they see in these movies are what they really are. And that's another issue that we have, is that we try to be like these celebrities who the people they are in the movies. And that's all good and dandy to a point if that person has good traits and you want to be like more admirable. But we look up to people like Tom Cruise or like, you know, other action people who aren't really who they portray in movies. It's just a movie, and people don't understand that, you know. So getting back to the whole you know, Bill Cosby thing, people see him on TV as a family man. That doesn't mean he's a family man. He was very likely, possibly after the show, roofing somebody and raping them.
I mean, there was a lot of complaints from his female co-stars, co-cast that
they were creeped out.
They were creeped out by him. That he was a creep. You know, like there's plenty of like witnesses, people saying that Bill Cosby was kind of a creep.
Yeah,
and like, I mean, again, I don't know the whole thing. I just read what I see. I say what I see. Like, you know, I read articles. I've read what people had to say about him. And, you know, like, there's plenty of proof out there that people are saying that
there's not a coincidence that 100,000 people are saying this.
Yeah, you know, it's just like, okay, maybe some of those rape allegations are women just trying to get money out of a rich man. You know, that happens plenty of times. But then there are like
legitimate cases
where our women was actually like raped again with there was like no consent at all, and he just like roofied them, got them like drunk or something to the point where they couldn't say anything.
Right. Yeah, that's I mean, the illegal act of, I believe they call it like aggressive penetration or unconscious penetration of a person, and that's what he was convicted of. He got 3 counts of that out of 50.
Yeah,
like he got 3 counts of that. And
then I saw like a video of the women after they found out that he was guilty. Like, they just looked
ecstatic.
They were ecstatic. They were crying of joy. Like, they were just like, holy crap. For like a long time, they've been trying to get people to listen to them. Nobody believed them because they were blaming Bill Cosby. But just one comedian, Hannibal Buress, and again, my opinion, I don't think he's that funny. But again,
you always got to mention it.
I do have to mention it. That's just I'm kind of an ass. Let me be an ass. All right.
All right.
But like again, Hannibal Buress, he just says one joke, and he didn't even mean to spark a debate for that one joke. He just said it as a joke. Like, he even went on to tell like reporters, like, man, I just said it, man. Like, I didn't expect it to be like a huge thing. Like, he didn't expect it to be a huge thing. Nobody expected a huge thing, but everybody listened to a comedian. That just goes to show that comedians really
have some leeway.
Yeah,
and they have,
whether they like it or not.
Yeah, they can get out to the masses and they can promote things, or they can make us feel a certain way about things. Like I was talking about in another podcast that, you know, there was like an Asian driver joke and it was told by a comedian, and now everyone thinks the Asians are bad drivers.
Yeah. And
when it's not generally the case, you know. You ever seen Tokyo Drift, my dude? It's, you know, I mean, shit. But for real, I mean, they and these you know, Asian people have some of like the craziest car races in general. The craziest car races, and they have awesome motorsports, and that's a really prominent sport over there. And guess what? Guess who do those too? Women. Yeah. So I mean, that just ties everything together. I think with all the comments and whatnot. I think we had a really good talk today.
Yeah, definitely.
And it gives you guys some stuff to think about, because you know, you can form your own opinion, or you can agree with us, or agree to disagree, or hell, disagree. But you should definitely, you know, tell us your comments, and you know, share this, and just do whatever you can to weigh in on the discussion, because we appreciate everyone's words on the topic, and maybe you could open our eyes to some new thoughts. And we are both open to changing our mind.
And if you think we're wrong, again,
explain yourself.
Don't just call us a bigot. You know,
with some detail.
We want a debate. We like a good debate. Yeah. You know, and I think that's the problem with this whole kind of topics, that people are afraid to get into this topic because one side tends to just start spouting hateful shit to the other side, and it's just like, then what? You can't get a debate if you can't just expect someone to like believe in what you're saying if you're just gonna bully them into it.
Yeah, and
You know, like so again, if you want to like say something, go ahead, say something, but don't just call
us hate that we hate gays or we hate anybody because
we're just gonna assume you didn't hear it.
We're just gonna assume you didn't hear what we were trying to say, and not only that, but you're ignoring the things that we did say, like like me being very moved by the LGBT community going against these people who were giving them some sort of hate speech, or
exactly,
you know, the fact that both Ed and I have friends who are gay, or have had friends who are gay, and I actually was befriended with I befriended somebody who was gay their entire life, and everyone knew, you know, and she was such a nice person to me, and you know, so you guys just, if you go ahead and start thinking stuff like that automatically, then it just doesn't make sense, and you should definitely take a look in the mirror and see who you are.
Know, one last thing, don't assume someone's a naturally good person just because they come out and say like they're, you know, gay or something. You know, like I've met some people who are gay and I've really hated them. Like,
they're fucking assholes.
Yeah, and I'm just like, and they had nothing to do because they're gay. It had because
their personality.
Yeah, their personality. They were just piece of shit personality. I'm not attacking them because of their sexuality. I'm attacking them.
It shouldn't have anything to do with it. No one attacks us because we're straight.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's just because you're a dick. It's like, stop being an asshole or being so.
Yeah, you know, like
giving yourself so much self-worth. Or
that's the problem with these kind of debates. You know, people are gonna look at like, you're white. They're gonna say like you're just a fucking white cis.
Oh
fucker.
Yeah, white cis male privileged person.
And I've known you my entire life, and I can tell right now like privilege is something that you like have to work for.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
you've worked for your privilege, and and that's what like, and I'm gonna defend you right here. Like you work hard for who you are, and you still work hard for who you are. You know, like
vice versa.
You're not privileged. Like you had to like fight for it.
Yeah, and for whatever little things I have now, I earned.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, basically, and I'm not trying to go through laws and legislation to get that, because I feel like there are some things that the gay community, the LGBTQ community has to go through legislation for, and there's some things that I think they should leave up to social construction to kind of narrow out, because if people are eventually gonna be okay with some things. And some things just people aren't going to ever be okay with, and they need to be okay with that. Exactly. As soon as a community is accepting of people, not having acceptance for some of their values, is the moment that I believe a community shines. So instead of forcing it on people, I don't want to be forced to someone saying, "Hey, you have to call me this or that."
Like if you say have to, then I'm just like, I'm gonna have to go.
Yeah, like it's like you're forcing me into your community, and that sounds a little bit like Nazi Germany.
Exactly.
So like when you're saying those, you know,
the feminazi joke isn't a joke.
Isn't a joke. It's you're forcing people into this movement.
Exactly.
And I could support your movement to a degree, and I can also disagree with some things about your movement, like the unpeaceful protests or stuff of that nature. And I do disagree with that, but I guess we're going to be wrapping this up here. Yep. But that's basically our message to people. Yeah. And it's not a message of hate. It's a message of do your own research and establish your opinion and let us know what that opinion is.
Exactly.
But you guys can definitely give us a follow over at Bear Mind Trip on all social media platforms. We're going to be on Spotify here. We're already on iTunes, and we are on Podbean and YouTube. You could also go ahead and give our Facebook page a like at Bear Mind Trip, and go ahead and follow us on Twitter and Instagram as well. So we're on all social media platforms.
Yep.
So you guys just go ahead and leave comments and let us know what you think. And
once again, constructive criticism, always appreciated.
We're definitely open to change our minds. If you provide us with some sort of evidence, we'll always look into it, and we want to grow as people, so we want to be able to read and change our opinion on things as needed. Yeah, so we're not, stuck in, stationary minded people, because I always want to grow and move my mind in some sort of way that I can be, prosperous in.
Yeah.
It could bring me good fortune. So, alrighty, guys. You already heard everything that's important. So you all have a good week, and just have a good one.
Take care.
All right, signing out. See you guys.
Peace.